Gavin from WSI, and today we're going to be talking about our elugs and how to repack them, how to operate them, best practices. And so this is an elug which you're going to run on top of a pollution control stuffing box. And first thing I want to touch on is that we've got a couple of samples here. This is a 1,500 pound double pack with an elug on it. This is a 5,000 pound BS with an elug on it. This section of the elug, even though this is on a 5,000 pound stuffing box, is still only rated at 1,500 pounds. Your primary section in here, and this cap, and your primary packing is what's rated to 5,000 psi. So, your elug packing should never be thought of for your lease operators and your pumpers out there as your primary packing. One thing we see a lot of, especially in places when it's really hot or it's really cold, or you as a lease operator is really busy and you got a million things going on that day, is you run up on the well and it looks like it's leaking and it's weeping too much, so you tighten this down. And you just tighten this. And you don't touch these bolts, or you don't touch your BS top cap. And you're relying on this chevron packing here to be your primary packing in that sense, and that's not what it's designed for. This is designed to be a diverter packing in this scenario. There are stuffing boxes that run off V-style and chevron packing as primary packings, but in this system, it's designed to be a diverter set of packing, a wiper set of packing for your shutdown switch. So that's what happens a lot of times. Plus, this stuff's quite a bit more expensive than maybe if you're just running a soft cone packing over here in this style stuffing box, or a brass packing. If you're over tightening this and burning through this too much, you're burning through money that you don't need to burn through. So something to think about. So when it comes to repacking these stuffing boxes, the elug portion of the stuffing box, our elugs come with 2.5. That's the diameter, size V-style packing. And you can get it 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4, whatever size it is. They come as, there's 8 pieces in ours, plus a bottom and a top Delrin set. If you look at your V-style on your chevron style packing, your bottom cone, your bottom piece of packing is flat, and your top piece of packing is flat. And you can see the rest of this is circular and then cut out for corresponding packing on the bottom side. So your two pieces that have a flat top and a flat bottom are what's going to go on the very bottom and the very top. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is take a set of your Delrin Followers. These will not need to be, sorry about that, these will not need to be changed as often as your packing does. So unless you've got a well that's super out of alignment and it's just crushing these and really deforming them, and if that's the case, a lot of times you could just simply rotate them inside that stuffing box and use them again for a couple times. But you shouldn't need to change these as often as those. So you're going to drop your Delrin Followers in. You can see how they're just in the bottom there. Then you're going to go with your bottom piece. It's kind of circular on top. It's bottom there. You're going to drop that in. Always check your packing. You want to alternate your slits. So what I like to do, you'll go through it twice on this because you got 8 of them. Is northeast, west, south, northeast, west, south. So you're going to alternate your slits so your slits are not all going the same direction. And you do that so there's not a straight leak path for fluid as it comes up. If you're ever to see pressure on your stuffing box, it helps it seal. So if I were doing this in a real application, I was on the well, I'd be greasing these individually as I put them in there. But this is why you want to do it individually, because I have seen some guys put a whole bunch of grease on the big stack and just try to put the whole stack on at once. When you do that, you don't know if your slits are getting alternated or what's going on. So individually grease them, throw some grease on your polish rod, throw some grease down there in the bottom if you want to. You're not really going to over grease this, so I wouldn't be concerned about that. And here's your top piece. That goes on the top, and you can tell it's top because it's flat. Put your Delrin Follower on. Place your cap. Again, a little bit of copper coat on here, or grease isn't bad. Anytime you got a threaded connection, go down till it's hand tight. And that's about as tight as you should really ever run it, maybe a little bit. When you come out to adjust it, it should never be a whole lot tighter than this. If it's super tight and you've got this buried down and you can't see any threads, you're running this packing way too tight. This elug cap has our new wiper cone on it. This wiper cone keeps you from getting water and fluid in your shutdown switches. Keeps your shutdown switches from prematurely shutting off because of get a big rainstorm or whatnot. and then those are tied into your computer system. So when these fill up, they're geared to. When these fill up, they're geared. They're there because the computer system thinks I've got a primary packing failure. I'm getting a bunch of oil in here. I have a spill. This thing's full. It's triggered my float. It's weighted down my canister on this side. We're going to shut the unit off. Well, the same thing can happen if you get a big rainstorm, if you get a big snowstorm, and you get snow piling up here and melting, and it's getting pulled down into that stuffing box with your strokes every time that unit strokes. So that's what this is there. It's to mitigate excess fluid in there and to keep you from your well shutting down prematurely. So that's what these are for. You can ask for them. You can get them. We send all our caps out now with holes drilled into them, so you can add them to it if you don't order it that way. You've got a grease cert right here on the BS style ELUG cap, or BS nut cap, and this doesn't go all the way through, so you cannot grease your primary packing through this grease cert, discrete port right here. What this is for is there's an O-ring that sits here, and a little bit of grease here allows this to rotate independently. So as you tighten your BS nut cap down to continually tighten your packing, which you'll need to do, it allows this to rotate independently, so your wires and your cables from your shutdown switches don't end up getting wrapped around your stuffing box. So that's what this grease cert is for. There's a grease cert, there's a plug right here which you can tie in as a grease cert for if you want it, and this would be the spot you could grease your chevron packing, your V-style packing here, and as that unit strokes, it'll pull it down through there. Another way, you can always just put a little bit of grease up here on top. It can suck it down that way. The 3/4 plug is for your shutdown switch. So if you don't have the shutdown switch on there, you're going to keep this plug in there. And what we talked about in the previous video is if you're not running shutdown switches to some sort, you don't need to run an ELUG. You can just run a regular BS cap, or you can just run a regular upper gland. So I think that covers most of the questions we get about ELUGs, operation, kind of what they're for, how to repack the packing in them. If you have any further questions, there'll be a link at the end of the video. If you'd like further training on these products and the rest of our product line, you can reach out to us through that link, and we can get that scheduled for you, do those in person. Again, thanks for your time today, and work smart, stay safe, and make your connection with WSI.